All right, let's get into this. Today we're talking about hiring blank slates who can learn your systems versus, hiring experts who have their own baggage. And if you're running a business right now and this doesn't make you a little uncomfortable, you're probably not paying attention to what's happening in the market. So here's the thing. We've all been there, right? You're hiring someone and you see this resume 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, and you think, this is it. This is the person who's going to come in and solve all my problems. But here's what actually happens more often than not. They come in with all this experience, but they also come in with all their opinions about how things should be done. Their old company's way, their old boss's way. And suddenly, you're not managing an employee, you're managing someone's ego and their resistance to doing things your way. Jason Fried from Basecamp, he wrote something back in June of this year that really nails this. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but years of experience has been the gold standard hiring requirement since forever. It's a terrible one. And he goes on to say, someone can do something for years and have nothing to show for it. What you really want, he says, is years of evidence, people with deep examples of work, piles of stuff they've made. And I think that's brilliant because it gets to the heart of what we're really talking about here. Now, let me give you some context about what's happening in the market right now. According to a study that just came out in 2025, about 90% of companies are reporting they make better hires based on skills over degrees. 90%. And get this, 94% find that skills-based hires outperform those hired based on degrees, certifications, or years of experience. So the data is backing this up now. This isn't just theory, this is what's working in the real world. And here's another stat that should get your attention. The federal government, they announced in September 2025 that they're implementing a whole new hiring standard. They're calling it skills-based hiring, and they're eliminating unnecessary degree requirements. The federal government, if they're catching on to this, it's real. Okay, so let's talk about the real cost of getting this wrong. Because here's what happens when you hire that experienced person and it doesn't work out. According to data from October 2025, employee turnover costs businesses an average of $36,723 annually per employee. And for 20% of hiring managers, it's over $100,000. Think about that for a second. One bad hire. One person who comes in with all that experience and all that baggage and doesn't fit your systems, that can cost you 6 figures. And you know what the really painful part is? It's not just the money, it's the time, it's the energy, it's the opportunity cost of what you could have been doing instead of managing someone who's fighting your processes every step of the way. So here's the contrarian insight that I think a lot of business owners are missing. The problem isn't that experienced people are bad. The problem is that experience without adaptability is actually a liability. If someone's been doing things one way for 10 years, they've got 10 years of muscle memory telling them that their way is the right way. And when you try to get them to do it your way, you're fighting against a decade of habits. But here's what happens when you hire a blank slate. Someone who's smart, who's hungry, who's got evidence of being able to learn. They come in and they don't fight your systems, they absorb them. They document them as they learn them. They actually help you refine them because they're asking questions that someone with experience wouldn't ask. And this is where it gets really interesting from a systems perspective. I was looking at some recent data about training programs, and this is fascinating. In August 2025, 8.1% of US job postings mentioned training programs. That's 2.4 times higher than it was 7 years ago. Companies are starting to figure this out. They're realizing that hiring for trainability beats hiring for experience. Now, let me connect this to what we do at Sulum with our virtual systems architects. When we place a VSA with a client, we're not looking for someone who's worked in that exact industry for 10 years. We're looking for someone who can document, who can follow systems, who can learn. And here's what happens. The VSA comes in, and as they're working, they're creating the documentation. They're building the systems. They're turning your business knowledge into repeatable processes. And this is the key difference, right? An experienced hire comes in and says, I know how to do this. A VSA comes in and says, show me how you want this done, and I'll document it so it can be done that way every single time. One is bringing baggage, the other is bringing a blank slate that you get to program with your best practices. Let me give you a real-world example from the real estate industry. So we work with a lot of real estate professionals, and one of the biggest challenges they face right now, according to data from 2025, is this shortage of skilled workers. Like, they're looking for people who already know how to do market analysis, how to handle clients, all of that. But here's what we've seen work better. Instead of trying to find that unicorn who knows real estate inside and out, you hire someone smart who can learn your specific process for market analysis, your specific approach to client handling, and you have them document it as they go. Now, this ties into something that Jason Fried and DHH have been talking about for years at Basecamp. They have this philosophy of hire when it hurts. Don't hire just because you think you need more people. Hire when you actually feel the pain of not having that person. And when you do hire, hire for the ability to learn and adapt, not for what someone's already done. Here's another uncomfortable truth. When you hire experienced people, you're often paying a premium for knowledge that might not even be relevant to your business. Like, they know how their old company did things, great, but your company isn't their old company. So you're paying top dollar for experience, and then you're spending months trying to reprogram them to do things your way, versus hiring someone at a better price point who's excited to learn your way from day one. And this is where process documentation becomes absolutely critical. According to research from November 2025, businesses that document their core processes see dramatically better results when bringing on new team members. Why? Because there's no ambiguity. There's no, well, at my old company, we did it this way. It's, here's the documented process, here's the video, here's the checklist, now go execute. Pro Sulum VSAs, they're trained in this from day one. They're not coming in to tell you how to run your business. They're coming in to clone you, to take what's in your head and turn it into documented, repeatable systems. You record a 5-minute video showing them how you want something done. They watch it, they document it with screenshots and step-by-step instructions, and then they execute it. And now that process lives in your business forever, regardless of who's doing it. This is the operational leverage that most business owners are missing. They think they need to hire the smartest, most experienced person in the room, but what they actually need is someone who can take their existing brilliance and systematize it. Here's another stat that should blow your mind. In 2025, employers reported that 76% of them globally are having difficulty filling roles. 76%. The talent shortage is real, but here's the thing. It's not actually a talent shortage, it's a mindset shortage. Everyone's looking for that purple squirrel, that person with the exact right experience, the exact right background, and they're ignoring all these smart, hungry people who could learn the role in a fraction of the time. And this brings us back to Basecamp's philosophy. DHH and Jason Fried, they've built a company that's incredibly successful, and they've done it by focusing on smart, adaptable people who can write well and think clearly, not people with 20 years of experience in their specific industry. And that approach has created one of the most sustainable, profitable software companies in the world. So let's talk about the practical application of this for your business. First, you need to shift how you think about hiring. Instead of asking how many years of experience do they have, start asking how many examples of evidence do they have that they can learn and execute. Look at their work. Look at their ability to follow processes. Look at their hunger to grow. Second, you need systems in place before you hire. And this is where most business owners get tripped up. They hire someone and then try to figure out what that person should do. That's backwards. You need to know what you need done, have it documented at least at a basic level, and then hire someone who can execute and refine that documentation. Third, and this is critical, you need to be willing to invest in training. But here's the thing about training a blank slate versus training someone with experience. The blank slate is eager. They're not fighting you. They're not saying, but at my old company, they're just absorbing and executing. So your training investment actually goes further. Now, let me bring this back to the real-world results we're seeing with Pro Sulum clients. We work with businesses in over 40 different industries: real estate, financial services, health and fitness, managed service providers, digital marketing agencies, and the pattern is the same everywhere. The clients who succeed the fastest are the ones who embrace this blank slate approach. They give their VSA clear direction, they let the VSA document everything, and within weeks they're seeing 20 to 30 hours a week freed up in their schedule. And here's the financial piece that makes this so compelling. A VSA from Sulum, you're looking at roughly half the cost of an in-house hire. Roughly half. And you're getting someone who's documenting systems as they work. So you're not just saving money on salary, you're building equity in your business through those documented processes. Think about that for a second. Every task your VSA takes over becomes a documented, repeatable system. So even if that VSA left tomorrow, which, by the way, VSAs have extremely low turnover rates compared to traditional hires, but even if they did, you've got the documentation. You can hand it to the next person. Compare that to